Guess who's back? Guess who's back? Back again. Shornack's back. Shornack's back. Tell a friend. La da 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 da. La da da da. So, hello, Al. Today we're going to talk about mental health and what we can do for that. And then when we're done with this, we're going to watch a TED Talk about what we can do for our mental health. So, right there again, I had to sing, have a little fun because I have been recording and doing a lot to get everything set up. So I need to have a little fun for my mental health. So we're going to talk about mental and emotional health today. So again, I'd like you to take notes on these slides. Mental health. Mental health deals with how we think, feel, and cope with daily life. Cope is a big one. I am going to exit out of this real quick. I have 12,000 tabs open. We're going to go to dictionary.com for those of you who don't understand what the word cope means, which I guess I could ask you. I like the way my voice sounds with my microphone on. I sound like Peter Frampton. Do you feel, if you feel like I feel. Cope means to struggle to deal, especially on fairly even terms with some degree of success, usually followed by that makes no sense. Definition 2 makes a lot better sense. To face and deal with responsibilities, problems, or difficulties, especially successful or in calm or in an adequate manner. Especially successfully or in calm, adequate manner. So we go back to our slides again. When we're talking about mental health, again, how we cope with daily life. Again, how do we cope with this successfully? How do I cope with the fact that I need to create the best lessons possible for you guys and gals versus I need to do some things for myself. Again, that's how we cope with stuff. We manage our stress, and so how I'm dealing with that is, I work in my off hours to get this done because I understand if I'm trying to do this during planning or nights that I'm going to go ragged. I'm going to go, a little more loco in the cabeza than I already am. Mental health encompasses learning, stress management, and mental illness or disorders. And again, we're going to get into that in a much greater detail, pretty much in the third week when we get into encompassing learning, stress management, mental illness, and disorders. Mental health learning. Learning is the development of skills, behaviors, and knowledge. Obviously, learning just does not mean, again, what we do in books. Again, everything we've done from pretty much the second that we are birthed from where we are birthed from, we are learning. We are learning about ourselves and the world from the minute we die. That's why in my emails I have that quote from a gentleman that I very much believe in, that learning is not just, education is not just passing a test, reading a book, and all this stuff. Education and learning from the minute we are born till the day we die is a process of education and learning. I got to get that quote again to show you. I'll do that later. Learning increases self-confidence, awareness, and self-perception. It also teaches one coping skills. Again, the more we learn about life and ourselves, physically, mentally, emotionally, and socially, the better we are able to cope with everything that life throws at us. And that's what we're going to teach in this class. And I'm sure you've learned how to, again, handle things, cope with things mentally. Again, we cope with things mentally and physically and socially, not always with this, not with screaming, not with curse words, not with the beep, 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 beep. And that's going to be one of pretty much our second assignment in health class. How do we What do we do, things to keep our body physically, mentally, emotionally, and socially healthy? Stress management. Stress deals with the ways our bodies and minds deal with life changes. It's important to learn healthy ways to deal with stress, or you could be at risk for anxiety and depression. Now, I'm going to click out of this, and we're going to go to DSM-4. There is a mental health journal that I want to get into. And if this is the wrong thing, I will find the right thing, precious. Because I want to, anxiety. So we're going to look up some of these terms. And I don't like this. I'm going to pause this. Now I'm back. So we're going to look at this NIH, National Institute of Mental Health, when we're talking about anxiety and stress and mental health disorders. Anxiety disorder. Occasional anxiety is expected part of life. Again, that's where your heart rate goes up. You feel sweaty. Things aren't going right. You're going 12,000 ways. You feel like you're being pulled 12,000 ways. That's anxiety. There are several types of anxiety disorders, including generalized anxiety disorder, panic disorder, and various phobias. General anxiety disorders. I was just saying goodbye to one of our teachers. They're here with me on a Saturday because we love you and we want to design the best lessons possible for you. Generalized anxiety disorder symptoms include feeling restless, wound up, or on the edge. Again, being easily fatigued, having difficulty concentrating, mind going blank, being irritable, having muscle tension, difficulty controlling feelings of worry, having sleep problems such as falling or staying asleep, restlessness, or unsatisfying sleep. Again, people who have general anxiety disorders display excessive anxiety or worry, most days for at least 6 months. Again, and they have about a number of such personal health issues, work, social interactions. So again, kiddos, we're all going to have that. That's going to be life. Again, it's how we deal with it. We understand that right now COVID has been a big thing of how we deal with anxiety, how we get certain things done. So let's talk about depression. And again, we're not going to get into all kinds of, depression. We could watch the video, but I'd rather do this. Again, depression is a common but serious mood disorder. It causes severe symptoms that affect how you feel, think, and handle daily activities, such as sleeping, eating, or working. To be diagnosed with depression, the symptoms must be present for at least 2 weeks. Again, we all understand that we're going to have times of feeling blue and down. Again, depression will happen. Again, we get depressed when our team loses. Like if the Broncos lose a game, I feel a little depressed and down. We get depressed when we raise our hand in class and we don't answer the question right. We feel, like down, like, oh, I'm an idiot. I can never do anything right. We feel depressed when we don't win a game that we're playing in sports here at school or something like that. Again, we're going to feel down in life. That happens. And we understand that chronic depression is something we want to get help with. Finally, let's talk about mental health disorders. Stress and problems with school, friends, and family can cause mental illnesses. Mental illnesses including depression, bipolar disorder, schizophrenia, and phobias. Again, we talked about depression. Depression can happen, again, there's many types of depression that we're going to look up again real quick. There's persistent depressive disorder. Postpartum depression deals with when women have children. They feel that depression of not having that child in themselves. Psychotic depression, seasonal affective disorders. That happens, when we get that, when the weather turns crappy, when the winter happens. This happened with people with COVID, when you couldn't go out to see your friends, you couldn't go to movies, you couldn't go to sports, you couldn't hang out because social distancing and all that. That was that seasonal affective type disorder of depression. We'll get into bipolar disorder in a minute. Well, let's do it right now. I hit the wrong button. Bipolar disorder is a different form of depression, but it's included in this list because of some of the bipolar disorder experiences episodes of extreme low mood that meet the criteria for depression. But a person with bipolar disorder also experiences extreme high euphoric or irritable moods called mania, or less severe forms called hypomania. I'm going to click on bipolar disorder because it's our next one. Bipolar disorder used to be called manic depressive illness or manic depression. It's a mental disorder that causes unusual shifts in mood, energy, activity level, concentration, and the ability to carry out day-to-day activities. I want to stress this right now because you're teenagers and you're growing up, that just because people go up and down in their behavior, you, your parents, your guardians, your siblings, your friends, your teachers, doesn't mean everyone has bipolar disorder. That's life. Again, we experience that anxiety, that high and those lows of how we deal with life. There's bipolar disorder 1. It lasts about 7 days of manic depression or manic symptoms. There's bipolar disorder 2, that full-blown manic depressive episodes. There's chronic disorder, which lasts again for 2 years, all kinds of stuff like that. Again, I'm not going to spend too much time getting into that, again, because we could spend a day talking about this in class. The last I want to talk to, or not really the last I want to talk to, is about schizophrenia. So let's type this in. Let's see if I can spell this right. Maybe not. Maybe not. I'm just going to type in and see what it gets to me. Well, I understand that, but give me something that's close to it. Gosh, darn it. Now I have to look at this. There we go. That would probably help. There we go. There you go, Tig. Schizophrenia. Schizophrenia is a serious mental illness that affects how a person thinks, feels, and behaves. People with schizophrenia may seem like they've lost touch with reality, which causes significant distress for the individual, their family members, and friends. If left untreated, the symptoms of schizophrenia can be persistent and disturbing. However, effective treatments are available. When delivered in a timely, coordinated, and sustained manner, treatment can help affected individuals to engage in school or work, achieve independence, and enjoy personal relationships. So again, I'm not going to go too far into this. Like some treatments are psychosis, mood and social functioning. Schizophrenia children, unfortunately, I'm not saying all homeless people, but a lot of homeless people have developed schizophrenia where they just, that's where they're out in the street because mentally they just, they develop these disorders. And there's a lot of people on the streets that do have that, and we try to get them into mental hospitals to try and help them with that. The last thing I want to talk about is phobias. And then we're going to do our TED Talk, and then we're going to stop for the day. Specific phobias. Just a phobia is an intense, irrational fear of something that poses little to no actual danger. It can, although adults with phobias may realize that these fears are irrational, even thinking about facing the feared objective or situation brings severe anxiety symptoms like panic attacks. We did that when I did the About Me Google Slides with you. And I shared with you, like, I have certain fears like snakes and mountain roads. I can get panic attacks with those. Some phobias, again, they can be actual danger. But certain phobias, we talk about like clowns, heights, water. We get into those phobias and panic attacks. Sounds like my mic's going out a bit when that happens. So those are mental disorders and mental illness. I think that's where we're going to stop today with mental health disorders. I'm going to put on a TED Talk to talk about, again, how to manage your mental health. We're going to watch that. And again, after we do that and after we do social health, our last assignment, we may not get to this reflective writing until next week. We're going to do just a quick little writing again about what do you do to maintain your physical, mental, and social health. Again, as always, if you have any questions, please ask me in class. My remote learners, again, please unmute yourself and ask. Again, anyone absent, you should be watching these videos. And if you have any questions, please message me through Schoolology. Thank you very much, children. Have a super sparkly day.